Okay, so welcome everyone. Uh, we've been talking about um, chanting in the Orthodox Church, singing, music. We first spoke about sound as um, being part of creation, right? How when God created, He spoke with His word, and so in a sense, sound is um, part of God's beautiful act of creation, and that's why as human beings, we resonate with music, right? And so last week we spoke more specifically about Christian music, how um, Christians uh, took the music that they had from the Greek world, from Syria, from the Jewish tradition, and they formed it into the Christian tradition, um, which we now know we call Byzantine chanting, right? It wasn't called Byzantine chanting then, but that's what we call it. Um, Now, last week we had a lot of theories, so I thought, you know what, let's get someone who actually knows how to sing Byzantine chants, which is Meletios, which is joining us tonight very graciously, to just show us and just maybe speak a little bit about chanting and to give us some examples of what it sounds like, because this is important. We're not just talking about um, theories, but actually what it sounds like. So, um, I'm going to give Meletios just some time. He's going to almost just give us maybe some introduction about the singing and give us allow us to hear the sounds of Byzantine chants.
Okay. Okay, my name is Meletios. I'm so happy to be here with Father Nicholas. So, basically, I'm going to explain to you guys why first are we singing in our church. We sing because we're part of the creation. Everything that God creates in the nature are singing. Birds, animals, all of us. So in our Greek Orthodox Church or in the church in particularly, the singing of Byzantine music is part of our life. So we use normally notes and all the sign, especially for us Christian in the Orthodox Church. If you want to express your feeling for God, you need to do it via your voice, via your beautiful voice. And you think about your life, you think about everything that you need to put in front of God. So that's why we're learning how to sing this Byzantine music. So I don't know if there's any question.
I think,
Mm.
you know, where we sing, we don't use so much Byzantine chants, which
Yeah.
is why I wanted Meletios to maybe sing something for us to allow us to hear the sound. Of course,
Yeah.
he doesn't have a choir with him, so he'll be
Mm.
singing alone. Um, and then maybe we'll have some questions as well. Yeah, for sure. So, is there something that you'd maybe like to sing?
Yes,
You
yes.
want to teach maybe one of the guys here to help you with the Ison?
With the Isokratima. Okay, we
Yeah.
call it Ison. I don't know if there's anyone
Um,
available.
Vasily, we're gonna have a online teaching class as well. So we've got Vasily here, maybe to help Meletios along. He's gonna teach you as we go, and that might be a good way to. I'm gonna take the camera so we can also see you.
Okay, so you see this one, we're singing the Greek doxology. The Greek doxology is the hymn of Jesus of the how I don't know how to explain it to you, but I'm gonna help you. See the first one. Na- yeah, keep it like that. Na- Glory be to thee who show the light. Glory in the highest to God, and on earth peace, goodwill among men. We praise thee, we bless thee, we worship thee. We glorify thee, we give thanks to thee for thy great glory. O Lord, King, heavenly God, the Father Almighty, O Lord, the only begotten Son, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit. O Lord God, Lamb of God, Son of the Father, who takest away the sin of the world, have mercy on us. Thou takest away the sins of the world. Yeah, so it's something like that.
Really beautiful. Amazing.
Okay.
Thank you, Melita. So I noticed that we were talking about uh, in the Christian chanting, the words take precedence. We don't just make sounds, but it's really important that we can understand and hear the words being chanted because the words are holy, sacred.
Yeah.
It's like a prayer. Yeah. So I don't know. Are there any questions maybe about how Meletius learned how to sing so beautifully? Let's see if there's any question. You can jump right in if you like. Mm. Everyone's shy tonight. There's a lot of people on. So I have a question.
Hi.
So
Yes.
yes.
Uh,
Soskamas.
sorry, Father. Sorry, Ignatius. Thank you very much. It was magnificent. Even over the speaker of the cell phone. Yeah. Just very quickly. I mean, how did you acquire this skill? I mean, did you have to go for formal training? Did you take part in the choir and gradually acquire it that way through doing, learning through doing? Maybe could you just elaborate very briefly on that?
Okay, basically, I started in the choir in my when I was young, like 10 years old. So my father was pushing me to the choir, and from there, I have that passion to sing. So basically, I have a training also, a training how to sing the Byzantine music. I don't know if you can show
We're
it to
gonna
us.
take a look.
Yeah,
So you can see the notation is
the
not like
notation.
the usual one we think of. This is the Byzantine notation, yeah?
The Byzantine, yeah,
Yeah.
notation. So you have to learn all the notes. So it's not that difficult. So if you have that passion, yeah, that feeling that you have a nice voice and you can do it, that's it.
Mhm. Um, Now, in terms of you started learning in Congo, no?
Yeah, in Congo, when I was in Congo in my
Yeah.
country. So from there,
Okay. And Miletus, your father is a priest, no?
yeah,
Yeah.
my
So
father was a priest
was a priest, yeah.
until he passed away
Yeah.
in 2020.
Mm. So yeah, Miletus was blessed to have a childhood raised in the church.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. Um, uh, in the choir, is it mostly males who sing, or
No.
women can also
Yeah,
sing?
women
Yeah.
also can also sing.
Hmm. So it's a mixture.
Yeah, it's a mixture.
Mm. Any other questions, maybe? They're shy. They're shy tonight.
Hi, Father.
Hello, is that Charity?
Uh, yeah, it's Charlie. I have a question.
Hmm.
Can a um can a woman like do an E song? Like, is it possible for us, or does it depend on the voice?
Like, as you mean, the e-song.
The drone, yeah.
Okay, so basically we have 8 tone
Hmm.
in the music, Byzantine music.
Hmm.
So it depends of what song you want to sing. So if you want me to be on the first tone,
Hmm.
I can take it from there. I can say, no, no. So I can sing everything from the first tone there. If you want me to go on the second tone, isocratima on the E-son on the second voice, then I can go a little bit up.
So if you can sing that, Charity,
Yeah.
then you can do the isocrat.
Isocratima, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like in English, I think do re mi fa sol la si do.
So you have the equivalent.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you just say the scales in the Byzantine scales?
In the Byzantine scale, we have
You did that.
in Greek, I think.
Yeah, in Greek. In
Okay,
Greek.
we have ni fa vu ga di ke zo ni. If you want to sing something on the first tone, I would be fa vu ga di ke zo ni pa.
So you can. There we go,
Yeah.
Charity. So the answer is yes. Okay, great. I think after this, everyone's going to want lessons from the lectures.
No problem.
Yeah.
I'll be available.
So another thing about Byzantine chant is it's not, from what we understand, the church fathers, when they developed this style of singing, it focuses on the prayerfulness of the words. It's not like regular music, like entertainment music. It's not for entertainment. It's not for like going to the theater or going out with friends and singing around the fire or something. This music has a kind of austerity to it, so that it doesn't become just entertainment. It has to become prayer ultimately. Okay, Melissa.
And
So
basically, I'm very good on practice than theory. You see, theory is a little bit difficult for me how to explain to people. But like, on my own language, like French, I can explain to people. But now
we throw Melita's right into the deep end.
exactly. I'm very good on how to show how to go. So practice.
That's wonderful. I think it's the best way to, when we're learning about singing, is to sing, is to get involved and to sing, whether we're singing at home in our, sorry, this, singing at home in our prayer, or if we can sing in church as well together with the choir. It's very important because that's the way we can memorize the prayers, engage with the worship. So it's not just us listening, but engaging. So that's great. I wanted to tonight. I don't know if Melissa, if you have time to sit a bit. I wanted to continue with our talk tonight about singing and how it's traveled from Byzantium, because which is Constantinople and Mount Athos, to the north, and how because one of the big questions is, why does the Russian Orthodox Church sing differently? And there's a lot of debate. Is that acceptable? You know, some of the more operatic styles of singing that are used in the church. So I'm not going to give an answer. I'm not sure, but we can look at how Byzantium planted the seed of chanting, and then how it developed in places like Serbia, Romania, and also in Russia, of course, and Kiev and those places. So I want to share the screen, and I'm going to try tonight to play some sound bites. So hopefully we can all appreciate that. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see the slides. Okay, so now already in the 8th century, the church in Constantinople and in the Antioch and Alexandria, the singing tradition had become established and quite advanced. You know, the choirs of Hagia Sophia were the best choirs in the world, which is what brought the Russian people to the Christian faith. Remember the story of Vladimir when he came to the cathedral, and they didn't know if they were, well, not him, his emissaries came, and it was the singing that brought them to accept the Christian faith. So we know that very early on, one of the great centers that would send monastics to places like Kiev, which was the great, let's just say, became the first Christian center in the Slavic lands, was in Kiev. And they built this cathedral. This is an image of the cathedral. It's actually called Holy Wisdom Cathedral, Hagia Sophia. It's their Hagia Sophia, a smaller church, obviously. But the idea was to recreate not only the architecture, but also the sound that would come from this space. Because the church is not only designed for frescoes and for the liturgy, with the shape of the floor, but also the sound, the shape of the arches and the domes resonates sound very specially for this type of Christian chanting. And so, from the very early times, the people in Kiev were hearing chanting, Byzantine style chanting. But what would happen was the monks that would either go to Mount Athos would come back, bring this chanting system, and slowly they developed their own particular style, which was called Znameni chant. And so you can see as well, it's using a similar type of notation like in Byzantium, where it flows from one sound to the next. And the name Znameni actually means sign, but it comes from basically, it's also called the hook system or the kruchki, which is basically because these little signs look like little hooks, and it would indicate how the people would sing. Now, I wanted us, we're not talking so much tonight, but I want to share some music with you. So let me see if I can share some of the sound. Now, what is really interesting is I'm gonna do it on YouTube, and I don't have paid YouTube, so there might be adverts. Sorry, but excuse the adverts. Okay, let's see if I can share this. Okay, so Znaimini chant sounds very much like. Let's see if I can share it here. There was a question. Oh, okay, I'm going to get to that now. Yes, Miletus can sing Greek. I think he primarily sings
Yes,
Greek.
yes,
Yeah,
I can
so
sing Greek.
he was very gracious to to sing some English for us. But yes, I think he specialized more in Greek.
More in Greek
yeah.
than English.
Yeah. So I'm just going to get this link. Sorry, I'm a bit shaky with the technology, but I want you to hear. Now we heard some Byzantine style singing, obviously, what Melita sang. So let me just see if I can organize this. One second. Vasily, I might need your help here. Let me do it through this way. Just 1 second. Okay. I'm going to try share this now. Just 1 second. So Znameni would be the kind of closest style of chanting that was retained in the Russian Orthodox Church. That sounds more similar to what they sing in the Greek Orthodox churches. Sorry, let me just try get you. Taking a while, I think, because of the internet. Well, maybe, you know what, I think the best thing would be, while it's loading, I'm going to continue going through some of the history of this chanting, and then we're going to hear all the different examples. But Znameni chant sounds very similar to Byzantine. It has the single melody being sung with also a kind of drone sound accompanying that chanting. And this became the kind of the main chanting style for hundreds of years in the Russian churches, wherever it was, in Kiev and beyond. Um, and one of the places, the centers where the singing was developed was in Novgorod, which was a very, very northern city, Great Novgorod. And it was here where um, they developed the system even more. Um, and from here, places like Moscow and various other places were influenced by this type of singing. Um, the problem was that there was no set system for Znameni chanting. So oftentimes the way that they would notate this type of singing, only a very, very trained singer would be able to look at those squiggles and figure out how the song was sung. They would have to have heard it before. So this became a problem. So they started to develop this way of notation even more. Can everyone see the slides? Oh, you can't see the slides. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to be back here. Okay. Can you see them now? Okay, sorry. It should pop up now. Oh, you can't see my slides. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna just try share it again. It's not that important, but it would be nice. Okay, there we go. Novgorod. So this is Novgorod. Still exists today. It became a. It remains as it looked in the medieval times. This town. It's very interesting. This is the interior of the church. So this became one of the great centers of Znameni chanting in the medieval period. Okay, so what they did was they developed a more set system of basically reading the music, and it's called the cinnabar style because they would take the red made of cinnabar pigments, a mineral, and they would add the little notations above the notes to help the singers more easily read this music. Okay, um, and so this became the main system. Now, because the land of the Rus was so big, there would become kind of regional areas where this Znameni chant would develop its own particular character and its own, how can I say, style. And one such places was Valam. Now we hear about Valam chanting quite often, um, and also quite far north, close to St. Petersburg, it's an island with a famous monastery, and they developed a type of Znameni chanting in Valam, although it was also influenced by Byzantine chant that was coming up again into the land of the Rus, and this Znameni chant that it had received. It also includes two-part singing, and we can hear as Znameni chant in many churches today. So it's a very popular style of music because of its prayerfulness, its simplicity, unlike later Russian music that came in. Now, what's interesting is that although this tradition was kept within the Valam monastery, it was only in the last 100 years that it was systematized and recorded, and now it's spread further to parishes. But before it was a very localized style. Okay. So what happened? What caused the changes in Russian style music? Now, we can say that one of the first, the kind of pivotal moments, the changes, was with the reforms of Patriarch Nikon. And this was in the 17th century, in 1650, that year. They started to do reforms within the church, and these reforms were not only with music, but with various things. The way vestments were looked, the symbolism of the church, even the sign of the cross, and various other things. And included in this was change of music. Now, what's really interesting is that during this time, Russia, like in the broader sense of Russia, was coming under two influences. The one was in what's now modern day Ukraine, in Kiev. Poland had gained, let's just say, um, influence in the area and was bringing Roman Catholic style of music, Italianate music into the church. And this started to influence the Orthodox singing. Sometimes um, the Orthodox churches would try and mimic this style to because people were getting drawn and attracted by this type of music, right? So they were trying to make an answer to that by making Orthodox style hymns that were polyphonic with many voices, not one voice, right? And this happened in Kiev and other places. Um, but also, what was interesting in the time of Patriarch Nikon was that certain hierarchs of the Eastern churches from Antioch um, would do tours throughout Russia, right, and come to meet the Tsar. And they would also bring their style of music and some of their hymnography. And so there was this kind of synthesis of what was happening in the Eastern Patriarchates coming into Russia. And that's why Nikon, for example, many of his reforms, he was trying to synergize with the various patriarchs of Antioch, Alexandria, who would come and do these tours throughout Russia. And they would see how these hierarchs would serve, and then they'd want to mimic it. And at this time, although the most of the Greek-speaking world was under the Ottoman Empire, they the services were still very beautiful, and the way that the hierarchs would serve would be really amazing to the Russians, who had a much more simpler style of dressing, etc. So these were all part of the reforms of Nikon. Um, okay. And this is also where the old believer schism happened in the Russian Orthodox Church. Now, the old believers didn't like this new style of singing, which sounded more to them Latin, more Catholic, and so they retained the Znameni chanting, and they rejected it and went into isolation, right? Um, okay. So what developed at this time was what's called Kievan chant. Now, um, what happened was not only Nikon, but the Tsar, Alexei Mikhailovich, um, chose to move away from the Znameni chant and to look at what was happening in Kiev. Now, Kiev had absorbed all the different singing traditions, not only from the West, but also from Bulgaria, Serbia, etc. And they developed this kind of standardized chanting, um, which also followed the eight tones, but they developed their own style of tones, which became the basis of what we call the common chant, which is what we actually sing in our church. Um, um, it was polyphonic, which means it had multiple voices. So what we would say is, the bass voice and then the tenor voice and the soprano, etc., things like that. It was absorbed from the West. Okay. So this only the Kievan style of chanting was a later development. Okay. I'm going to play some music at the end if I can organize it. So that was the first influence that changed the style of Russian Orthodox singing. But then later on, another influence happened, which was the court chant. Now, as the czars of Russia started to look towards the West, including Peter the Great, who was a great visionary for Russia, but his gaze was towards the West. He was amazed at Europe's whatever advances in technology and various other things, and so he founded St. Petersburg, as we know, and he wanted to also reform the church. Now, many of his reforms were very bad for the church, and the musical reforms are debatable, right? That's the debate that's still going on in the world. What happened? But what we know is that around the court of Peter the Great and the later czars and emperors, emperors basically, of Russia, they would have a court choir, which would basically be the most highly trained singers of Russia, who would receive education in the West, in Italy, in France, wherever it may be, at the conservatories. And they would come back with a Western ear and a Western style of music. and they would begin to um, uh, compose music based on their experience. And so the sounds started to change, and it became a less popular to use this Narmini chants, and they started to use a more like Baroque style of singing, operatic style of singing. Um, Now, many of the composers were pious Orthodox Christians who um, tried their best to create amazing, beautiful, prayerful music within this Italianate style. So I want to show you some, if my computer is going to cooperate with me, or I can send you the links of some of the music that was composed during this time. For example, the composer Bartyansky composed some cherubic hymns and various other music that is absolutely sublime. So there were good things that came out of this period. But what happened was also the development of what's called paraliturgical hymns, hymns that were sung outside. So, for example, while people were taking communion, right? So, an example would be like Agni Parthene. It's not liturgical hymn.
No, no, no,
right?
no. It's
Yeah,
not. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's not liturgical. It must be
Outside
sing
of the
outside the
yeah.
liturgy.
So in St. Petersburg in the court, obviously the composers wanted to show off, and so they started to create these paraliturgical hymns, which were very beautiful, operatic, but not so prayerful.
Mm.
And what happened was later on, um, there were reformers within this tradition that said, no, we can't allow the church to go too far and to create concerts in church. It has to be reined in and become prayerful. And so, um, thank God, there were many great composers that managed to retain the the original tradition, the original prayerfulness of the music with this now Western sound and Western notation, right? Um, and there's various composers that we'll recognize that would sing. But we can even see like in the architecture, right? This very Baroque architecture. It's a Russian Orthodox church. You can recognize it, but it has this Western style, and this is the same with the music. Okay, I'm gonna play all these songs hopefully later now when I get the time. But let's just keep on going. Another influence that came on Russian Orthodox music was the folk sounds, folk singing. Um, of course, Russia was dominated by village life with lots of different folk singing traditions. We know folk singing uh, is, I mean, universal. I mean, we know there's folk songs in Greece and Serbia, wherever it may be. Um, it has a certain simplicity, a certain communal aspect to it. And some of the composers recognized the folk music itself was influenced by Znameni chants. And so what happened was these now more modern composers would reincorporate folk sounds into the music. So you can find, in some cases in Russia, for example, liturgical music that has influences of folk into the chanting. Okay. It's also debatable, is it good or bad? I think it depends on the spirit in which they sing. Are they really praying? Okay. Um, and there were some other great composers, very difficult names. Turchaninov, Mikhail Glinka, who again started to reform the church and to look back at this Naimini chanting and the ancient chanting and try and incorporate it back in. And so Russia had this like very mix of the Znameni chants available, Valam chants, the Kievan chant, which became the kind of basis for the liturgy, etc. And then these operatic pieces that have come into the church. And so this is basically how the Russian Orthodox Church has received its chanting tradition. It's a mixture of traditions. And so you can find some churches will prefer to sing in Znameni or less. I must say it's not that many. And others have a mixed tradition of mostly Kievan style chanting, which is a common chant. And then they'll have, for certain songs within the liturgy, they will sing these more Italianate style pieces and add other various aspects. So we're going to try and play some. Now, one last thing I wanted to say was that there's also some amazing great composers from let's say the Russian Empire that composed amazing sublime works like Rachmaninoff, who composed the All Night Vigil, which many of us know and many people have actually been drawn to Orthodoxy by hearing this music. And he was a classical composer. He composed many classical works, but also he dedicated a large portion of his life to giving back to the church with his skills of music and composition. And so he composed these works, and he was a master of drawing from the ancient sounds, but also the various Russian traditions, and putting them into a beautiful prayerful compositions, which we can hear to this day. So, um, so let's see if I can share some of these. So let me stop sharing the screen, and I want us to listen to some of this music. I think if I share the screen, it gets a bit confused. So I'm going to stop sharing. And let's see if I can share some of the music. Okay. Vasily, maybe you can help us here.
Yeah.
Maybe if you come. Could you share it? The Znameni one.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So Vasily, who's on, is going to share a YouTube video with Znameni style chanting for us to listen to. If he's able, if not, I'll make it later. Mm-hmm. Okay, I see something coming. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send the links as well. So this is the link. This is this Znameni chanting. No.
Okay. Just hold. Can everyone hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So just stop pressing the button. Okay. Stop pressing the button, everyone. Okay. And then can everyone hear the sound?
Mm-hmm.
No. Not right now, but very good. Okay, just play. Are you getting thumbs up or thumbs down?
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me try and share it on our side. Are you not managing Vasily? It's not coming through, I don't think. Okay. So let me try share from my side. 1 second. Okay. Okay, I'm sharing one now. So hopefully everyone can hear this. It's gonna take a couple of seconds to load. So this is Naimini, will be known as Naimini chants.
Царстве Твоем помяни нас, Господи, егда приидешь во Царствие Твое. блаженни нищие духом, яко тихи царство небесное. Блаженни плачущие, яко ти утешатся. Блаженни кроцы, яко ти наследят землю. Блаженни алчущие, жаждущие правды, яко ти насытят.
Okay, so that's an example of Znameni chant. That's the Beatitudes, right? So now I want to share, now that I've figured this out, I'm going to share, oopsie, something else with you. Okay, just 1 second. You have to be patient with me because I'm bad with this stuff. Okay. So now this next thing I want to share is what, let me let it load. I think my internet is a bit slow. So this is an example of Valam style chanting, which is it's an offshoot of Znameni chant. And you'll see the difference. And then I'd want us basically, before we close off tonight, because it's a bit tricky to do all this, to see how it changes slightly over time. Okay, sorry, there's an advert. Gonna have to wait for that. Were you able to hear that, Vasily?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, sorry, I'm just gonna wait for this ad to end. Okay. I'm gonna share this. Okay. Can anyone hear? Is it coming? Still loading, huh? Vasily? Mhm. No, I'm just I'm just showing the music.
Last time we shared the screen on it.
Mhm. Okay, it's coming now. Okay. Can you hear? Can you hear? Mhm. Okay. Well, it's not working. What I'm going to do is, yeah, we'll have to figure out the music side of things. So I'm going to basically send you links to the various hymns, and that can be a bit of homework. Um, I'm going to put them in order as well. So we've got, okay, just 1 second. I'm going to send you all the links. So the first music link is Znameni chant. The second is Valam style chanting. The third is the Kievan style. So I'm just going to send you all the links, and then that can be homework, and we can finish it early today. Yep. Yeah, sure. Let's try it. Could be the internet.
Yep.
Hmm? Okay, so that was an example of Balaam style chanting. Okay, and then the next one is an example of Kievan chant. I think that Vasily is going to put on for us. Thank you for helping me. The third link, I think I've already put it. So I'm just going to send you all the links in the chat. The third one, the last one, should be Kievan. Yeah, it's coming on. It's right at the bottom.
I was going to the last one you posted. So Christ is sorry, Calvin, quicker than no sound.
Okay, this is Kievan style.
Hi, Kyle. Sorry to disturb this. There's no sound, there's no audio, and I think everyone's experiencing the same thing.
Okay, so let's try. This is a Kievan one again. See if this actually comes through now. Okay. So are people hearing it now? Okay. Do you want me to show the alarm one quickly? Oh, I thought they couldn't hear it. Okay. All right. So which one? That's. Okay. Let's click that one and see if that works. What is going on here? Oh, here we go. It's loading.
Okay, it's just loading now.
Why we've got the Hallelujah thing again?
Okay, we'll try to get that going. So I'm going to send you all the links. And so I suggest you just listen through them and you'll see kind of go through the journey of Orthodox music, how it developed in the Russian Orthodox Church. So what is my conclusion about this music? Well, Vasilis maybe going to try and see if we can get something. Um, what's interesting is that when Christians in the early few centuries, 4 centuries, took music from the Greek tradition, which was pre-Christian. They took the system of music, um, and they took it and they uh, presented it in a way where it would help people to pray. It was uh, a re-baptizing of the music and the sounds of their time. And I would say that the same thing happened in Russia, where Western music was incorporated into the Russian tradition, but it and so some of it that was too flowery and embroidered didn't really last in the church. But some of the great composers who did a prayerful way of composing were able to create music that has still a Western style notation, but still is acceptable in church. So in a sense, they baptized that music. And so someone like Rachmaninoff was able to take that and to turn it into sacred music, holy chanting. So this is what we should be doing as Christians, right? In whatever we do, everything that God made is good, including music, but we have to find a way to transfigure it and to make it prayerful Christian. Um, and so that's why I would say that there's multiple styles of singing. You know, if we could go look at the Romanian style and the Serbian style or whatever it may be. They all have their roots in the Byzantine style chants. But even the variations, as long as have developed within the church and with the right spirit, they can lead people to God and to prayer. And so that's very important. So we have to appreciate that and uh, search for those hymns and songs that help us in our prayer. And um, and so that's what I implore you to do tonight, especially if you have some time. We're going to finish a little bit earlier. To listen to this music, and to learn to appreciate, gain an ear for the various singing of the Orthodox Church. Um, so yeah, that's what I'd like to say. I think Vasily is going to try to present one more.
Okay, I think I've sorted out the problem. Let's see if this works.
So this is the Italianate style, but if we listen to this, we can really hear something inspired.
Is there another one you want me to play?
I think it's fine. I think we'll cut it off there. So I've sent you all the links. So enjoy the journey through this development of chant. What I can say is another thing I would like to mention is that beautiful rendition of the cherubic hymn, as much as it is amazing and beautiful, the church, especially the Russian church, has recognized that we can't lose the original chanting style. So there is a trend now, which is a good trend in the Russian Orthodox Church, to return back to this Naimani chant, to return back to the Byzantine chant, because they realize that in the general use in church, there has to be a plain chant, because prayer is also aesthetical, and song should represent that as well. So sometimes these very flowery pieces can be wonderful within the liturgy, but that can't be everything, because then people start to rely too much on that kind of Western style of gaining emotion, which is different to what Christian chant should be. So, so that's also a wonderful development that's happening now. If you go to various churches, they start to incorporate more Islamic style chant, Valam style chant. So let's see, Vasilius, if you can also do that for us in our church. So I think that's all we're going to do for tonight. Thank you all so much. Meletios, our guest of honor, maybe you want to sing something for us.
Okay.
A short hymn maybe that you know or that you'd like to sing for us, just to say good night, and then after that we'll say goodbye.
I think I'm gonna take my laptop.
Oh, great. Sing something in Greek.
In Greek.
Perfect.
Okay,
Wonderful. Okay. So what are you going to sing before you sing?
Action is in. Action is in for the Virgin Mary.
It is truly meets. It is truly meets.
O Tinai Makariston ke Panamomito Kemite mite ratu theui mon tindi miote ton hierovi que doxote eran ansikri ton serafim Deny thee a thorns, Theon lo, God te kusan, Tinondos te otokon se mega linome
So,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
thank you.
Okay, well, that's a beautiful way to complete tonight's talk. Thank you all so much. Apologies for you're getting lots of clapping hands.
Oh,
Glory to God for everything. Thank you so much. Have a blessed evening. So next week we're going to look at. I'll polish up the presentation of the music. Um, Singers, great Orthodox singers and composers of today, of our time, Arvo Part, Seraphim Bit Haribi, Kurt Sander, and various other people who are contributing to the music, Orthodox music today. So thank you all so much. Thank you, Meletius,
okay,
again.
it's a pleasure.
If you ever want, maybe Meletius will give you some lessons. You've got to ask him very nicely. But thank you all so much. Have a blessed evening. I'll see you next week.